This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Today is Women's Wealth Wednesday, where we discuss important topics specifically for women to help you with your financial success. And joining me today is Caleb Doane, who is the Vice President of Foster Financial. Hi, Caleb.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
Good, good. So today we're going to discuss something very interesting, women who have left the workplace. So we know about the Great Resignation, right? Women may leave the workplace for a better work-life balance. Maybe they have kids. There's a variety of reasons, or maybe they're starting their own business.
Right.
But at their old employer, they may have a 401k. And you get this question a lot about, what do I do with it? Right. So what are we going to discuss today?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say one of the big considerations that people have is, hey, I had this 401k with my previous employer. Do I just let it sit there and, stay invested how it is? Or, a lot of people know, hey, somebody told me I might be able to roll it to an IRA, so is that a good idea for me? And so I think there's kind of pros and cons each way, and so I think it's a really helpful conversation to have.
Yeah, well, let's have it. So first off, can you help us understand what is the main difference between a 401k and an IRA?
Yeah. So a 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement plan.
Okay.
So you have to be employed through an employer to get access to this 401k. And of course, if somebody leaves the workforce, they're no longer employed by that employer. And so people typically have the option to keep the 401k there if they want. Sometimes if it's below a certain balance, the employer will say, hey, you actually have to roll this somewhere else.
Okay.
But a lot of times people have the option to leave it there if they want. An IRA, on the other hand, is an individual retirement account. And so you don't need to be employed to actually participate in an IRA.
Okay.
And so some of the main kind of differences there too is that a 401k typically has a very limited amount of investment options. There's 20 or 30 that somebody can choose from and allocate their 401k between those different options. An IRA almost has the entire world of investment options. And so sometimes it can be a lot more custom to the person, which is something that a lot of people like to do.
Yes.
And the other piece is that a 401k is typically self-directed. So, your HR department might tell you have a 401k, and you can go set it up and decide what to invest in. But it's typically you who's making those investment decisions.
Okay.
With an IRA, a lot of times people leverage a financial advisor to say, hey, now that we have the whole world of investment options, what's a custom strategy for me, and how can we invest it that's going to, do well for my personal financial plan?
Right. And as you said, with it being the 401k being employer driven, there's a benefit because usually the employer will match, the contribution. So, but my question is, can someone have both at the same time? Can you have a 401k and an IRA?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay.
Yeah, you certainly can. And I think one of the benefits a lot of times when people retire is that they like to start consolidating some of their accounts too. So we'll have people come to me and they'll say, hey, I have 3 or 4 different 401ks from different employers. Maybe I rolled one of them into an IRA.
Wow.
What do I do now that I'm retired?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's helpful to have a cohesive strategy across all of those accounts, because a financial advisor or a good financial advisor will create a plan that takes into perspective everything in your financial plan, not just one account.
Right.
And so sometimes it's helpful to start consolidating those and get a cohesive strategy across all of them.
Okay, and of course, a big question is taxes.
Yeah.
What are the tax benefits with each of them? Does one vary?
So a lot of times the 401ks are pre-tax retirement accounts. And so that's the exact same as a traditional IRA.
Okay.
And so one of the questions that people typically have is, hey, if I do roll my 401k into an IRA, do I have to pay taxes on it right now? And fortunately, that's a non-taxable event to roll that money.
Okay.
And so since it's going from that retirement account, that pre-tax retirement account in the 401k to a traditional IRA, no taxes are owed on it when you roll it. And so that's a great benefit there too.
So I know sometimes there is an option when you leave your employer and your 401k is there. People sometimes cash out. Okay, they take the funds, but do you recommend that, or is this rollout or rollover the best method?
Yeah, so I mean, everyone will be different, but I would typically say cashing it out is usually something where people might not realize the tax implications when they do that. And so if you actually take money out of the 401k, send it to your bank account, after 60 days, it actually becomes taxable in the year that you withdraw it.
Oh, wow.
So especially if somebody had a big 401k, I mean, let's say they had, a couple $100,000 in there. If they cash that out, put it in their checking account, all of a sudden their taxable income went up, $200,000 or $300,000 that year. So they got bumped up into a much higher tax bracket. Whereas rolling it to an IRA and then waiting until retirement and slowly drawing it out means you can potentially stay in a lower tax bracket and not give Uncle Sam too much of your retirement savings.
Right, okay. So I understand the benefits, and that's good. Are there any downsides to this rollover process?
Yeah, so there are some features in a 401k that aren't in an IRA. And I'd say the one that kind of comes to mind initially is that some 401ks have the ability for people to take a loan from their 401k. And so that can be, a helpful tool that some people end up using.
Yeah.
And so it's important for everyone to kind of weigh the pros and cons and say, hey, am I willing to give up the ability to take the 401k loan in order to get, all these other investment options and kind of a custom plan from a financial advisor?
Wow, okay. Well, it sounds like we need an expert to navigate those decisions, which is why a financial advisor is just so important. So thank you so much, Caleb, for sharing about that today. And Foster Financial is here to help women plan for their retirement. You can take advantage of their complimentary consultation. We'll have their website listed below, and I'll see you after the break. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.